Hello, everyone. My name is Yaron Spiwak. I'm the music director today for the Center for Spiritual Living in Los Angeles. And let's start the morning with a beautiful song. When you're down and troubled and you need some love and care, and nothing, oh, nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am that I'll come running just to see you again. Winter, spring, or summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend. If the sky right above you grows dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind begins to blow, keep your hands together and call my name out loud, and soon I'll be knocking at your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am that I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. And I'll be there, yes I will. And I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend.
You are a friend and you've got a friend.
Thank you.
Good morning and good afternoon, Yaron.
Good morning and good afternoon to you too, Keith.
You're welcome. I love your backdrop.
Thank
It gives
you.
an illusion that you're in in a wonderful music studio awaiting Carol Keen to record that song.
Yeah, so it's like back in the time machine.
Exactly. And a great time machine as well. A great one. And you're hailing to us from Provincetown, Massachusetts, where you're still there in residency doing amazing music. And so welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Me and Todd, that I know you had last week. Yeah, we're having good time spreading the love and music here.
Good.
Wish
I love
you
it.
guys could be here too.
I'm so happy that you're doing that, and I'm happy to hear that you're feeling better. I know earlier in the week you had a bit of some type of respiratory bug. So, um,
Yes,
so I know that the songs that we've selected for today are ones that are going to celebrate your health and your well-being.
yes.
So, it's great to
Hopefully,
see you. Glad you're here, and we'll see you in a bit.
I'm good.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And welcome to our Sunday morning celebration service. If you're joining us live, it is Sunday morning, August 27th in the year 2023. And I honor you and invite you into our virtual space as we take time and energy to connect and honor the power of the divine that exists within each and every one of us. No matter where you are joining us from, and no matter at what time in your life you are joining us, whether it's live or at a later date. The lyrics of the song that we just heard, You've Got a Friend, indeed speaks to, in a very broad sense, the philosophy, faith, and way of life that we teach here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, which is We have a friend, if you will, in the traditional sense of the energy of the divine that we each are imbued with, that the power and the essence of the thing itself is perfection and wholeness and completeness, and it's doing its thing unaltered through each one of us. However, there are often times that we feel that it is altered, affected, if you will, by means of our thinking in regards to it, our attuning to its innate nature, and our either consciously or unconsciously living a life that reflects its innate nature. And so today, as we come together, as we do each and every Sunday morning, and as a community have done so for 30, almost 35 years, we do so in a way to remember who we are as divine beings, to hear tidbits of information that not only remind us, but give us guidance on our journey of life to continue to live in a way that reflects our innate nature, and to allow the support of community to exist for each and every one of us. Albeit one that is virtual, we still know that as we look into the screen and feel the energy of those that are around us, that there are those that are also on their journey of life, honoring the power of the divine within. I'm going to place on the screen our opening slides as we move into today's celebration service. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles again, and our vision statement is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so as we move into that state, let's have a good morning to each and every one of us, taking the time to honor the power that is within us. Let me move back to that slide again. Travis will know what I'm talking about when I say we were having no issues with my computer in regards to it eating Zoom when I change slides, and of course now that it has done it again. Let's just leave it at that. So let's go with a good morning. Let's take a moment to honor the power and the presence that exists within each and every one of us, to take a moment to breathe in the light of life. We do that through the act of namaste. It's an act of honoring the power and the presence of the divine that exists within us. It's known as light. And we do that in taking a deep breath in and allowing our awareness to become more and more of that. And as we exhale, we bend forward, saying together namaste, which means the power and the presence of the only thing there is honors and acknowledges that within each and every one of us. As a community, we welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. For we stand with you and want you to know that you are safe here, albeit one in a virtual space, that we got your back, if you know exactly what I mean by that. So we welcome one and we welcome all, celebrating the individuality of spirit that expresses itself by means of you and by means of me. As a community, as I said, we've come together for many years, as many do across the planet today, teaching primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. It's a compilation of great spiritual philosophies that Dr. Ernest Holmes put together in the turn of the century, and it was published in 1926, the turn of the 20th century, that is. Its essence is there's one power that exists in the universe. You and I individualize that power, as I said earlier, that we experience and express it through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and interactions with the very thing itself. As we awaken to our divine nature, we become more in tune with it, and as a result experience that in the physical level of life. So we're taught to practice how indeed we use our power of life. And that is a very esoteric way of looking at life, but at the same time, to look at it from a practical perspective, it's how we bring our divinity into the expression of our humanity. And how do we live our humanity in a way that reflects our divinity? We do that by changing our thinking daily, by remembering who we are, by acknowledging that there's a law of life that responds to us by corresponding to the very way that we show up in life and then know ourselves to be. Once again, our vision statement is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Today, in preparation for our service today, I've had a few spiritual awakenings. I invite us to each be open to that as we navigate this experience known as our celebration service today. We do that by moving into our ritual called calling in the light. And I invite you to open up to remember that we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering a more conscious awareness of our oneness. Let's hear that again. The purpose of the ritual is to draw into our gathering a more conscious awareness of our oneness and a remembrance that the light of the divine exists in and as all sentient beings. One of the qualities of the divine that we are each imbued with is indeed light. Let's use that as a reminder when we move into the lighting of the candles today. And the acronym for light is Living in God's Healing Truth. The first letter, L, stands for light. Dr. Holmes says that in flashes of illumination, the inspired have seen into the very center of reality and have brought back with them a distinct impression of what they've seen and felt. A glimpse of this reality illumines the whole being with a flood of light as we move to the second letter, I, which stands for illumination. In the book, The Science of Mind, illumination is referred to as inspiration reaching a cosmic state and a direct contact with the divine. G is the third letter, which stands for God. In this philosophy, faith, and way of life, synonyms for God are love, wisdom, intelligence, source, the first cause, the principle which is dependable, and the absolute. H is the fourth letter, living in God's healing truth. Obviously, H stands for healing. In metaphysical terms, healing is a mental activity which means mind healing. To heal means to make whole. The last letter is T, truth. In our teaching, truth is defined as the reason, the cause, and the power in and through everything. It's the birthless, deathless, changeless in its perfection and its wholeness. Light. We like to know that we are indeed the holy light. We affirm that as I am holy light. I am one with God. I'd like to read a poem written by a peer of mine that I'm going to speak of later in the service named Dr. Tom Senar. And his poem addresses light in this way. And I invite you to let it be an invitation to let your light shine in a new way. Hidden within the depths of you is the light. It shines forth in all of its magnificence, but is covered with the substance that blocks it, sometimes from your heart, your mind, your body, and the outer world. The light is hemmed in by gross matter, but is forever shining, illuminating you from within. It kindles the cosmic flame of your soul. How to liberate this imprisoned splendor, by what means to discover the secret of release. There is a way, the still small voice whispers, a way of surrender and listening. I am the beloved, the voice repeats, as invites each of us to speak it aloud until it is believed. I am the beloved. In so doing, a mantra forms in our mind and speaks to each of us, knowing it's true. The light proves it. Slowly we feel its warmth, and then dimly it touches our soul. Like a journey into a dark cave, the blackness being all until the first glimpse, the warmth, the shiny bit of light, before the illumination burst forth, binding each of us for a moment, before we're given our spiritual eyes. we use those spiritual eyes to see what is before us, to invoke the healing in life. Let's each use the culmination of the poetry and the ritual and the light to be a healing modality, and to invite into the healing light anyone and everyone that we would like to have experience the healing flames of God's eternal love. Yaron's going to come on the screen and take us through our final piece of the ritual, singing the song, Calling in the Light.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace in my heart, I am free, I am spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light, oh Lord. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
So it is. I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it. So, Yaron, what is the next song that you have for us today?
The song from a musical theater show, one of my favorite ones,
Uh-huh.
Oklahoma. And I know in LA it's a little bit earlier, it's morning. So I thought, you're there on your meadow. I'm gonna
Yes.
there's hopefully a bright golden haze there.
I love it.
So
So, does that mean it's a beautiful morning, a beautiful day?
it is, and even become more beautiful after this song, hopefully.
Love it. Take it away.
All right. There's a bright golden haze in the meadow. There's a bright golden haze in the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's high, and it looks like it's climbing right up to the sky. And oh, what a beautiful morning, oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling, everything's going my way. All the cattle are standing like statues, all the cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me ride by. But a little brown maverick is winking her eye. And oh, what a beautiful morning, oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling, everything's going my way. All the the sounds on the earth are like music. All the sounds on the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy it don't miss a tree. And that old leaping willow is laughing at me. Join me one last time. And oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. One more time. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, oh, what a beautiful day.
That song brings such joy, right? Joy and to the heart and memories, and so true. It's a beautiful morning. It's
Thank
a
you.
beautiful day. It's something we all have the ability to believe no matter what's going on externally, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So true. Well, I'm so glad you're here. You bring beauty to the day for sure, Hero.
You
You
got
do.
me.
You do. So, see you in a bit.
You bet.
We continue or complete our theme for the month, Simply the Best, today, as it being the last Sunday of the month of August in the year 2023. We've looked at being the best in so many different ways, and we take a moment today to really wrap up that concept of what does simply the best mean. Over the last few weeks in our um, movement, if you will, of people that practice New Thought, and since there was the event of Asilomar that we shared with you all with Jamie Lula recently, and talk about what would Ernest Holmes say if he was alive today, and among many of my peers, there's been a lot of conversation, and certainly there's even been blog writings by Dr. Jim Lockhart about what is the state of the New Thought metaphysical movement today? What is the state of our teaching? Are we ready to evolve into a new structure? Is there the principles and the philosophy and the essence of the teaching stays the same, while at the same time the approach needs to evolve with everything else in life, like life itself does? That change is on the horizon, if you will. So often I've heard people say to me for many years, when I was considered a new person in this movement 20 years ago at the age of 40, that I always thought that was so odd, but still not that odd that it's in their 30s and 40s that new people come into this movement and are considered the new ones and want to break ground. So often I would be told, and the kind of theme is that, well, for these changes to take place, the old guard has to move on. And in as much as that probably holds truth to it in some ways, it's also always sad when the old guard, in fact, does move on. And so today I would like to honor the movement and the transition of part of the old guard, Dr. Tom Sanner. He was an individual that I knew and loved dearly in our movement, and was always so respectful and kind and loving and fun and full of zest and zeal and wit and wisdom whenever I had the great opportunity to be in his presence. And he, as I'm going to share with you in a moment, was just this gentle soul, but much like the lion, not the cowardly lion, but the lion on the plains that had a great sense of bravado and style about him. Last week, he passed away. He made his transition to the next plane of action. He was one of the great science of mind teachers, Dr. Tom Sanner, he was. He moved to the next plane of action, whatever that may be, with his beloved partner, co-minister, and wife, Dr. Gisela, and family by his side. Dr. Tom was a renowned science of mind teacher, minister, mentor, author, progressive thinker, a legal scholar in many ways, an attorney, and so much more. I'm going to share part of Dr. Tom's life today as an honor to him, but also share with you parts of what his world was and speak specifically about one book that he wrote in the last time he published a book. When Dr. Tom was 17 years old, he had a mystical experience. He felt himself enfolded in an absolute, universal, and unconditional love. He knew that regardless of what appeared in the relative world, everything was unfolding in perfect and right order. At that time, he was given a glimpse of what our earth can be like if everyone learns to come and live from unconditional love. Later in life, Dr. Tom had been practicing law for about 2 years in Fresno, California, when he had a second mystical experience, this time calling him to ministry. There's so many of my peers this week, as we've talked of Dr. Tom and of this evolution that's taking place in our movement, of having had that moment of mystical experience that was a call to ministry, whether we understood it at the time. I remember vividly when the mystical moment happened for me in the Wilshire Theater with Dr. David Walker, and I was on stage doing a pre-service treatment prior to the service, and this flood of light came through me, much like we saw on our slide earlier of the beautiful woman bringing her hands together. And it happened, and it was like an electrical shock. And after it happened, I walked off stage, and as I was walking off the stage, Dr. Walker was walking through the stage to me, and as we came together in this electrical shock moment, for those of you that knew Dr. David, he felt as if he was the Jolly Green Giant. He was actually probably 6'1". But he grabbed me by the shoulders and said, "Did something just happen to you?" And I said, "Yes, it did." And he goes, I can feel it sometimes. He goes, "Do you know what it was?" And I said, "Yes." And he stood there and looked at me and goes, "Do you know what it means?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, you will." That happened to Dr. Tom when he said yes to ministry. And it was in that moment he began, in 1973, began studying and practicing the science of mind, at the time known as the science of mind and spirit. And then in 1984, he actually became a minister of the science of mind. In addition to his Juris Doctorate degree, he was awarded an honorary doctorate in 2003 and earned an academic doctorate in religious science in 2006. To build a strong academic foundation, he studied the complete works, and I'm not kidding you when I say the complete works of Dr. Ernest Holmes and the complete works of Dr. Thomas Troward, who is believed to have had the greatest influence on Dr. Ernest Holmes than any other person in his life. Dr. Tom, who now had been doctored 3 times over, has published a summary of both of these studies known as the Source Book of the Science of Mind and the Complete Works of Thomas Troward. Dr. Tom's credits and accomplishments are really too long to fully mention here, but including those, Dr. Tom has written over 14 books and publications. He was the legal counsel for our parent organization, Center for Spiritual Living, and then prior to that, International Centers for Spiritual Living, and prior to that, the Religious Science International. He's been on the board of trustees. He was a senior pastor of a fabulous church in Encinitas that I had the great pleasure of speaking at several times and being in the company of his beloved wife, Dr. Gisela, and he. I truly considered him a peer, and our beloved founding minister, Dr. David Walker, adored Dr. Tom and Gisela. Some of the books that Dr. Tom either authored and or published was Balancing Our Spiritual Energies Using the Enneagram System of Personality, The Essential New Thought Glossary, 40 Days of Gratitude, The Gospel of Thomas and the Science of Mind, Lessons from the Pathway of Roses, The Mind of Ernest Holmes, Mystical Secrets of Prosperity, The Power of Covenant, The Power of Prayer, Practical Mysticism, The Pioneers of New Thought, Secrets of the Voice Celestial, and more and more and more. I share this to exemplify with you the depth of Dr. Tom's work. It's so often when people pass on, there is certainly a great sense of remembrance, but not necessarily an acknowledgement of the depth of the impact these individuals had on this planet. Dr. Tom had this impact in a way that oftentimes was a bit under the radar until he came up from under the radar, but was oftentimes very much under the radar and had great sense of love and inquiry and compassion and passion for this teaching. He was truly one of the old guard. They don't exist like Dr. Tom anymore. Today I speak of Dr. Tom Sanner and my love for him, and to honor his life, to truly honor not only his memory, but to give each of us a new twist on understanding and knowing that the best, simply the best, has existed among us, and to let his previous work and his latest work, which is called The Power of the Vow, his last book, 7 Sacred Vows, be a guide for us as we move into a new expression of ourselves today. Because as we engage in life, no matter where we are, and choosing to know that it's a beautiful morning and a beautiful day, we're called, just like our organizations are, to evolve into a new way of using the principles of the teachings of the science of mind. Not judging or belittling or even looking at the past as if it was wrong, or holding on to it as if it's a memory that has to be cherished and can't let go. But to understand that part of this teaching, and as experienced students of this teaching, what we're called to do is to embrace a new thought, to have a new idea, to use the philosophy, faith, and way of life as a foundation and a basis, but yet to constantly be fine-tuning our engagement with it. A vow is what Dr. Tom is telling us that we're called to have. A vow is a sacred and solemn promise, an irrevocable commitment to live and act in accordance with certain prescribed agreements that you make within yourself. One could consider that to be an imposing and heavy idea, while at the same time yet refreshing and a new way to engage in this teaching in life. A vow. The power of vow, Dr. Tom talks of. In regards to this book, The Power of Vow, 7 Sacred Vows to Live By. He writes that when you unify yourself with the power of vow, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but for those of you that may or may not know, it's a take on the words The Power of Now, another great metaphysical book. But he tells us that when you unify yourself with the power of vow, you speak with universal power. You experience wholeness in your life, and you see beyond seeming limitations. You articulate clear and achievable goals. A vow is the unconditional promise to yourself to succeed in your endeavors. Your decision to use the power of vow gives one the access to the creative power of the universe and implies a sacred responsibility to use that power for good. We're all familiar with the concept of a vow. We know of people in sacred spiritual stewardships that take these vows to honor the philosophy, the spiritual, the religious in which they were committing to. I had to take them as a minister, as everyone does. We take them as a spiritual practitioner. We're familiar with vows in the sense of marriage and commitment ceremonies, and there are other elements in life when we must vow to honor. We saw the great, I shouldn't say the great, but King Charles take vows as being a king. Today I'm inviting us to look at our approach to living the science of mind using Dr. Tom Sanner's book as a template for ways to re-engage, as I said earlier, this philosophy. And in using the power of the vow, as the book being the template, there are some simple but important rules that we must adhere to. In making our vows, or using the ones that are prescribed, we must remember that they must be positive and life-affirming. To use a vow negatively or for personal revenge, he writes, contains the seeds of self-destruction. A negative vow may demonstrate temporary success, but in the long run will produce negative consequences of the user. Vows, number 2, cannot interfere with the free will of another person. Vows used to convince others to behave in certain ways are self-defeating. Such uses violate fundamental universal laws of free will. Vows must be specific and based on clear intention. The third rule is, therefore, vows, before uttered, should be carefully considered with full awareness of their consequence. Number 4, vows are holy and sacred utterness. just smile when I read that. I can see Dr. Tom saying that statement. Vows are holy and sacred utterances. Vows must be made with a deep commitment and a sense of sacred trust and responsibility. It's not only the words uttered, but also the motivation and intent that produce the desired result. And number 5, vows are used to improve the life of the individual and also to help lift the consciousness of humanity. Imagine if we were to but say yes to the vows prescribed in this book, which I'll cover in a bit, or any other vow that we know can accomplish the 4 previous rules with the intent of knowing it's to improve our life, as well as to help lift the consciousness of humanity. If a vow has the intention of goodness behind it, it must be good for all people. The power of vow. Dr. Tom goes on to write that the power of vow is transformational, and it's a way of life that allows each of us to experience miraculous and positive changes in our life. It's not about God or religion. It's about one's unlimited potential and how we can make that potential a practical reality in our life. As we take the time to embody and apply its teaching, we'll immediately notice the life-changing events occurring in our life. The power of vow is a primer for practical appreciation. It introduces the secrets of transformation, and as one begins to practice the specific techniques, we begin to immediately notice a difference in our life. Events will begin to flow in synchronicity, in a synchronous. I've never seen that word, sorry, and I read this over and over again. I don't know why it's all of a sudden odd. Let's say in an order that is in sync with our being. As we begin to live in this practice of the power of the vow, we'll develop a deeper confidence in our abilities and talents, and we'll feel supported by the universe in every choice we make. We'll make great strides in our levels of awareness, and we'll begin to find a new way of living, the life of a free, liberated, unlimited, universal being. Let's take that in. Imagine living our life in a new way, and our life is free and we're liberated as an unlimited universal being. Not new in this teaching to hear that, but new to hear it in such a new way. The message of the power of the vow is universal. It's meant to uplift, and it's meant to bring forward a joyful and prosperous life. He writes, as one engages in this practice of the power of the vow, to come and learn and enjoy and apply with an open heart and an open mind. That is the way Dr. Tom liked to live his life. He says that as we prepare to live a life with the power of the vow, to ask ourselves in reflection, and I ask each of us this right now. What's your deepest desire? What is it that you want more than anything else in life? What is it that your soul longs for? We've all probably been searching, as he writes, for answers for many years. We've tried materialistic solutions and have come up frustrated. We've read books on enlightenment and found them too esoteric and otherworldly. He says, if you're not interested in escaping this world but want fulfillment now, if you want practical solutions compatible with modern life, I invite you to the power of vow. He says he began to write this book on November 8th in the year 2003, sharing examples for us of how the power of the vow works. And he writes, as I was researching the uses of vows in religious history, I started to experiment using vows to change unwanted conditions in my life. To my amazement, I obtained almost instantaneous and miraculous results. I was told by my orthopedic surgeon that my left hip had degenerated. To maintain my quality of life, I would need a total hip replacement. He said the operation could be scheduled within 10 months. I immediately made a vow that the operation would be completed successfully and soon. 2 days later, I received a call scheduling it for November 19th. A total hip replacement is major surgery. So I decided to make a vow that this operation would be a defining moment in my life. I vowed to make great strides, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This operation would become a major turning point in my life and opened me to new dimensions in awareness. I, Dr. Tom, made a vow for extremely successful surgery and fantastic recovery. I also vowed that the book and teaching called The Power of Vow would be revealed to me in such a way that I could clearly and succinctly communicate it to others. And I put these vows into action and reiterated them each day. The outline of the book poured forth from me. I took an inventory of my life to determine what major changes I wished to make. I knew I was discovering the secrets of an ageless wisdom. I applied the ideas of the power of vow to my life. I wanted to verify the practical application of this teaching and wanted to prove its power by example. The manuscript was published after the power of vow was fully tested in my life. Through the consistent and dedicated application of the teaching, I've experienced wonderful results that continue to bless my life daily. I finished the manuscript of the book by Christmas Eve and published the first copies December 26, 2003. My surgery was a complete success, and I look forward to an active lifestyle. The power of vow is a transformational teaching that allows you to experience miraculous and positive changes in your life. And so let's look at these vows. The 7 sacred vows. I love these vows that Dr. Thomas put together, because it does give each of us the opportunity once again to re-engage in living our life fully, using the fundamentals of the teaching of the science of mind, but with somewhat new languaging. The 7 sacred vows are the vows of an unlimited being. They are based on the vital thoughts of the universe. A vital thought is a thought that is in harmony with the goodness of the universe. A vital thought is more powerful than an ordinary thought because it's supported by more than individual desire. It's supported by the universe. Let's you and I imagine what it would be like to go through our life consciously knowing that our vital thoughts are in harmony, meaning our intended thoughts are in harmony with the goodness of the universe, that our intended thoughts and oriented thoughts are supported by the universe, bringing forth good that is manifesting itself more and more and more. Today, I invite us all to hear these 7 vows as being potential vital thoughts for us in how we live our lives, to open up to a more successful and fulfilled life, honoring not only Dr. Tom, but all Science of Mind ministers that came before us, and with the willingness, as I stated earlier, to evolve in consciousness. He says this: the 7 sacred vows hold the key to a successful and fulfilled life. The first step towards personal mastery is to memorize and embody these 7 vows until they become an integral part of our daily life. The first, I vow awareness. Simple, right? I vow, make commitment to live in awareness. Awareness is the vow to live consciously in the present moment. It's the commitment to be alive, awake, and aware to the now. It's the commitment to listen and be receptive to what is happening now, rather than dwelling on regrets of the past or worries about the future. Awareness is also the vow to expand consciousness. By making the simple vow of awareness, one proclaims to the universe that you're ready and willing to begin your journey of personal transformation. At the end of each vow, he has an affirmation. I'm going to state them, and feel free to state them aloud afterwards as well. He writes, I vow to expand my consciousness. I vow to wake up. I vow to live consciously in the present moment. And just so you know, these will all be in the newsletter tomorrow, so we all have them to use in a very practical and everyday way. The second vow, after we've vowed to live in awareness, is I vow courage. Courage is the vow to proceed in spite of seeming obstacles. Courage means to overcome fear and to act with confidence and moral strength. Courage involves the persistence to turn obstacles into opportunities. You may feel the fear of uncertainty, but you have the strength and the determination to do the courageous thing, to rely on your inner wisdom and not to allow fear to deter you. Each of us in this commitment are courageous persons, people, who overcomes fear and acts upon our inner convictions. He writes again, you are a courageous person who overcomes fear and acts upon your inner convictions. The affirmation for the vow of courage is this: I vow to overcome fear and act with confidence. I vow to rely on my inner wisdom. Courage. We all know, because I've stated it many times, that courage comes from the Latin word courage, which means to live from the heart. That inner wisdom, which we think comes from here, but it really comes from our soul. And the heart is the representative of that, if you will. Building upon awareness and courage, we move to the third vow, which is, I vow kindness. Kindness is the vow to treat others with deep dignity and respect at all times. Kindness involves a thoughtful and deliberate appraisal of a situation and the ability to empathize with others before acting. Kindness is based on the realization that people have different dispositions and perceive the same events differently. Kindness implies a high regard for the feelings and needs of others. Before you take action, you consider the feeling of others who might be affected. You're kind to yourself and others in word, thought, and deed. I know personally that I've become more and more attuned on a daily basis to being kinder and kinder and kinder. And I know for each of us, we all are aware of that as a possibility. Let's let today be the day that we do that, building on awareness and courage to then act with kindness, because to live with kindness requires both courage and awareness. The affirmation here is, I vow to treat all people with deep dignity and respect. I vow a high regard for the feelings and needs of others. I vow to listen. Awareness, courage, kindness leads us then to authenticity. I vow authenticity. Authenticity is the vow to be genuine and to come from unique inner wisdom. It's the commitment to be real in every aspect of one's life. It's the commitment to become transparent. There are no hidden agendas and no ulterior motives. Authenticity is the vow to take total dominion and responsibility for your life and to rely upon the unique gifts and talents that you've been given. You're not phony, duplicitous, or compartmentalized, because everything you think, feel, say, and do comes from your authentic, balanced, and harmonious nature. Authenticity, such a buzzword in today's world, and one that I haven't necessarily always been kind about. Today I'm accepting, having read this prior to now, but having read this with us today, a new perspective on authenticity, and choose to live with authenticity, letting kindness and courage and awareness be the baseline. I'm giving myself permission to be more authentic and to honor that in others, and I invite each and every one of us to do the same. The affirmation for authenticity is, I vow to become transparent. I vow to take total dominion and responsibility for my life. The fifth is gratitude. I vow gratitude. We all know gratitude is one of the most transformative energies and powers on the universe. Gratitude is the vow to express thanksgiving for life regardless of conditions. Gratitude is more than a social grace. It's more than a resultant emotion. Gratitude is causative energy. It's a creative force which acts like a magnet. Whatever you're deeply grateful for becomes your experience. Whatever happens in your life, there's a blessing somewhere. The universe is on purpose, and everything that occurs in life has a purpose. By the power of gratitude, you become open to the hidden lessons in life. Gratitude, awareness, courage, kindness, authenticity, gratitude. Affirm with me, I vow to express thanksgiving for my life. I vow to bless all aspects of my life. Taking us to the sixth vow, I vow oneness. Oneness is the vow to see through duality and unity. Through oneness, you reveal holistic solutions. You see beyond competition to cooperation and harmony. There's always a third creative and holistic force operating behind any process that appears dualistic. When you make the decision to stop judging on the basis of appearances and begin to look for answers that unify and bring people together, you tap into the creative solutions of the universe. What Dr. Tom is inviting us to do here is, as we've built the foundation of our awareness and our courage and our kindness and our authenticity and gratitude, to move into this state of living life through oneness, through the multi-dimensionality of the oneness. In other words, to be the mystic. Affirm with me. I vow to see the unity behind all appearance. I vow to tap into the creative solutions of the universe. Which brings us to the seventh vow. I vow detachment. Detachment is the vow to objectively observe behavior without judgment. The Eastern traditions calls this ability mindfulness. You realize that most people unconsciously react to conditions in life based upon pre-existing beliefs. You can consciously decide not to allow your emotional backed beliefs to control your life. You become the creative thinker and the observer who objectively watches what you're thinking and feeling. Detachment allows you to become passionate in the process of living, but detached to the outcome. We've learned over time through work with the great Deepak Chopra that being detached is more than just not being attached. Just not being attached is just not being attached. Taking it further is to consciously and vow to detach, to be unattached with intention. The mantra is, I vow to objectively observe behavior without judgment. I vow to be positive and life-affirming in my speech. I vow to not express negative emotions. We have awareness, courage, kindness, authenticity, gratitude, oneness, and detachment. What a great way to move into life built upon these vows. To have new thoughts starting today, using all seven or building upon them one day at a time each week. But to do that in a way to let the light of the divine guide us. To let Dr. Tom's transition and passing be a reminder to each of us of the change that is always unfolding in life. And today, choose to honor his journey with gratitude and to honor his journey and the impact that he had on life in this teaching by letting his unique approach to life through the power of the vow guide each and every one of us into a greater expression of life. Remember, he told us in the poem that I read earlier that hidden within the depths of you is the light. Let you and I let our light shine today in a new way that is indeed impacting others by using these vows to curate a new frame of mind that will reveal through us the qualities of the divine in a new way and not only make an impact on our lives, but for the good of humanity. We say goodbye to the month of August and living simply the best and invite in the month of September. Our theme for the month of September is P, P, B, and J. It's a play on a PB and J, the sandwich, of course, but two P's with it. PPB and J stands for peace, power, beauty, and joy. It's within you. It's within me. It's in within Dr. Tom. And it's within everyone walking this planet and within everyone who's taught this philosophy, this faith, this way of life, and had the courage to live it, to share it, and to let their light shine. I affirm for you today, as I affirm for myself as well, that today is the day, a new day indeed, that is not only beautiful, but one where we let our light shine in a new way by making a vow to ourselves to live with the vows that Dr. Thomas presented to us, and knowing that life indeed is good as we're good in it. Thank you. Amen. Namaste. And so it is. Yaron's going to come back and sing a song for us.
Hello, everyone. When I find myself in time of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my heart darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree that there will be an answer, let it be. But though they may be parted, there's still a chance that they might see that there will be an answer, let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there's still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. 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 Speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
So lovely. That song evokes so much, as the other two have as well today, but certainly in the context, I know we've all heard it many, many, many times. Um, but feeling the presence of honoring someone who's passed away, and you hear that, right? As well as the work that they've shared with the world. We are called to just kind of let it be while at the same time, I think let it be means live in the moment. That's what it
Oh,
really means.
mindfulness, exactly like
Mindfulness, yeah.
yeah.
So cool.
And acceptance.
Yeah, exactly. So much.
Yeah.
Yaron, thank you so much for being here. I know that you've got one more song for us and you'll be saying goodbye, but I know we have you booked for several more times throughout before you depart Provincetown and roll back into the land of angels. So
Can't
thank you
wait.
for being here today. And I affirm for you your stay in P Town is continually a blessing for you and all that you shine your light with. So
Thank you. Shine until tomorrow. Let it be.
let it be. Let it be. A big thank you to Robert Hensley, our social media person and administrative assistant, and running our Zoom, our YouTube for today. And a big thank you to Travis Smith for taking care of us via audio as we navigate all that fun that we have before us. And a big thank you to each one of you for being here today and supporting our community as we be exactly what we are. Our upcoming dates for in person is September 10th, which is 2 weeks from today. So we look forward to seeing you then. And our date in October got moved to October 15th, just so you can put that on your calendar. So it was the previous Sunday, but the 8th, but now it's the 15th. So just know that. I'm going to place on the screen right now the manner in which one can support our community as through conscious giving. And know that if you support us, we are deeply appreciated. If you can go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate, or you can go to the app in the App Store, and which is Center for Spiritual Living. It's different than it is on the screen. There is just a donate button right there that you can go to, or you can mail an address. Our address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, or my name and numbers on the screen. If you'd like to reach out to me and have me handle it privately, I would be happy to do that. And so Euron's going to come back and take us through the song Love Is My Decision as we take a moment to support our community financially.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, someone show me how. Love is my decision, yeah, my decision, right here, right now.
Thank you, Euron. Thank you to each one of you. May you continue to live your life as a blessing, continue to shine your light on your pathway. May your shining of your light continue to illuminate the pathway for others. I affirm for each one of us that we know deep within our soul that we are called to this planet to live our life authentically, that we're here to be kind, to live in oneness, to give of the gifts that we've been given in life, to be grateful for the opportunities that life has laid out within us and before us. I affirm for each of us that today is the day that we choose to give of our good and to leave an impact on this planet, not out of greed or out of need for approval, just because that's how the flow of life works. I'd like to say aloud thank you to Dr. Tom Sanar for all that he did to make this life a better place, and for being such a kind, loving, and gentle and fun soul. And may he continue to shine his light wherever he may be. And on some kind of wild belief system, maybe all of those old school New Thoughtonians are up there raising a little hell wherever they are and stirring things up. Let's know that today is the day that we're called to let our light shine a new way. May you continue to be blessed. We're going to say goodbye to those of you on YouTube right now, and those that are still here on Zoom can say a brief hello if they want to turn their cameras on. Peace and blessings.